This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Thank you for joining us on the News at 11. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. We start tonight with the demonstrations taking place across the country and here in Indianapolis. The death of a black man, George Floyd, at the hands of a now former police officer has set off outrage and calls for justice. That former officer was charged with manslaughter today, but demonstrators are calling for action against all of the officers involved in Floyd's death and an end to police brutality.
And a demonstration has been taking place for several hours now in downtown Indianapolis. We're going to get right to RTV6's Cameron Riddle. Cameron, I've been watching your Facebook Live. You've been on the RTV6 Facebook page, and a lot of things have been changing just in the past 15 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of things have just changed in the last 90 seconds, too. On this side, things appeared to look clear, but I assure you, it's actually not. We were walking through the streets of Indianapolis, and just 3-4 minutes ago, the police, we were at the back of the line following the protesters who are now down there at the Capitol. But as the police came this way, they stopped and protesters started to engage. So what was the back where we were at became the front, and police started throwing tear gas. We just got tear gassed a few seconds ago. You can see right under the light, there's another one of the mini tear gas bombs. That's hot, man. That's hot. It's hot. That, as you can see, is fresh. That's how hot it is because it just happened. I know we got to go this way, Dave. As you can see down toward the Capitol, those are protesters who, up until the police just tear gassed everyone, were peaceful. Now windows are being broken just past that Jack's Donuts restaurant and those buildings right in front of the state Capitol. I just saw someone bashing in the windows. This is a scene that looks a lot like other scenes happening across the country. Tonight, we talked with the Fraternal Order of Police President, Rick Snyder, about how this situation has boiled into this. Of course, this started with George Floyd getting shot and killed, Drayshawn Reed getting shot and killed earlier in this month. But then earlier this week, George Floyd killed by Minneapolis police. And the police that we talked to say all of this should have never happened because they can't understand how police let that happen.
As a human being and as a Christian, I'm dismayed by what we have seen.
As cities around the nation protest the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, police in Indianapolis say the actions of former officer Derek Chauvin are inexcusable.
As an officer, I'm completely disappointed, frustrated. As I'm known for saying, I am outraged.
On Twitter, Indianapolis Police Chief Randall Taylor says after 30 years in law enforcement, he cannot understand or justify the actions captured on video. Rick Snyder couldn't believe what he watched.
I was yelling at my television. I was yelling, get off of him. Why are you doing that? And then yelling about, why don't you turn him on his side, step back? The things that we're trained to do. Why aren't you doing that? I can't explain that. I can't wrap my mind around what was the decision making that was occurring.
Snyder is the president of the Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police. He says kneeling on a person's neck is not in any training manual.
It's not even we're not trained to do that. We're trained not to do that.
Snyder says even beyond the arrest, there were a number of poor decisions made in the aftermath by Minneapolis police.
The tactics and quite honestly, the lack of intervention like we saw overnight with the burning down of the police precinct and all the other property damage and loss of life.
All right. Okay. Hey, we are right in the middle of this. As I said, we tried to get we were at the back, and now we're right in the middle. As you can see, Jack's Donuts, we've done stories on that place. We're trying to back up. We were so much for social distancing, but Jack's Donuts right now, they are breaking the windows. Those are residences above this. I know the guy who owns this Jack's Donuts actually lives in this building. This is what's happening live right now in downtown Indianapolis. All of this tonight, Daryl, all of this tonight, I hear you. None of this happened until 5 minutes before we came on the air when police tear gassed everyone, and that's what set this off. This has been completely peaceful. It has now turned dangerous and violent as windows and buildings are now being smashed and you hear alarms going off. Now Indianapolis is now starting to feel a bit like Minneapolis tonight. Reporting live in downtown Indianapolis, I'm Cameron Riddle, RTV 6.
Cameron, thank you, and be safe out there. Tonight, as you say, we are hearing from local black community leaders who say there are similarities between Indiana's largest city and Minnesota's largest city when it comes to putting measures into place to keep such tragedies from happening. I spoke with Indianapolis recorder, journalist, and community activist Marshawn Woolley.
Indianapolis could be Minneapolis. We again are a city that is caught in the middle of reform. There have been the meetings, there's been the discussion, but there hasn't been the implementation like there needs to be. Right now, we need to be focused on trying to make sure that the unheard are heard. And right now, protesting is the voice of the unheard. My hope for them is that the policies in Minneapolis that they pursued and trying to make sure this situation doesn't happen actually get implemented.
Woolley wants to see a community review of the Citizens Police Complaint Board, something Mayor Hogsett says needs to be addressed but hasn't been. Amanda.
And Mark, we are also learning more tonight about the charges against the former Minneapolis officer involved in George Floyd's death. ABC's Zoreen Shah has the latest.
For the fourth night in a row, violence in Minneapolis following a black man dying while being pinned to the ground by a white police officer. 500 National Guard soldiers deployed, an 8 o'clock curfew, but crowds on the street. All of this hours after former officer Derek Chauvin was arrested and charged with the murder of George Floyd.
Please, I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, man.
This video sparking national outrage, showing Chauvin digging his knee into Floyd's neck while he was handcuffed.
He's not resisting arrest or nothing.
Prosecutors say the defendant had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in total. 2 minutes and 53 seconds of this was after Mr. Floyd was non-responsive.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been charged by the Hennepin County Attorney's Office with murder and with manslaughter. We are in the process of continuing to review the evidence. There may be subsequent charges later.
ABC affiliate KSTP was there as Floyd's girlfriend reacted to the charges.
This is the piece of justice. This is the first piece, and it needed to. It needed to be done. It's time.
Other officers involved in Floyd's arrest, To Tao, Thomas Lane, and J. Alexander Kung, were fired.
They are under investigation. I anticipate charges.
Following charges against Chauvin, nationwide protests continued. These protests in Atlanta. And tonight, a newly found video of George Floyd shows him in his own words, talking about breaking the cycle of violence he witnessed.
One day it's going to be you and God. You going up or you going down.
Floyd's family says through a lawyer they want to see Chauvin face first-degree murder charges. They also want to see the other officers involved arrested. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
We are keeping track of the protests happening in downtown Indianapolis tonight. You're looking at live pictures right now. And what started as a peaceful protest has turned to be an attack on businesses and looting going on, as we've seen some smashed windows, including the Jack's Donuts near Monument Circle and the state capitol, and the surrounding businesses. Windows have been smashed in that area. We had seen people go into those businesses and then come back out again. We will keep track of the riots going on downtown. We have our Cameron Riddle down there. You can find the latest at theindychannel.com and on the RTV6 app as well.
And a reminder to everyone to make sure you come up with a plan to vote in Tuesday's primary, especially if you are still waiting on a mail-in ballot or just received yours. We first warned you about this a few days ago. Now the Marion County Clerk is officially asking the state to extend the deadline for mail-in ballots because her office ran into delays processing applications from every voter who wanted one.
I feel that we need to make an exception to count every ballot that we receive after Election Day.
And today, the Secretary of State pushed back on that request, saying mail-in ballots must make it back by noon on Election Day for all counties for security and accountability reasons. And election officials want you to know if you have a mail-in ballot right now, you can fill it out and bring it into a polling place on Election Day. If you're still waiting on your ballot or you sent it back within the last 3 days, your best bet is to vote in person. You can find detailed information to vote at voteindy.gov. And Marion County restaurants will be restricted to outdoor dining for just a few more days. And Kevin, it looks like this weekend will be great for spending time outdoors.
Yeah, Amanda, I lost you there just for a second. So you were saying what a beautiful weekend it'll be. That is true. Perfect outside, and you can feel the difference now. The humidity is dropping out. So 63, that's temperature in Kokomo, 67 in Greenwood. What will happen tonight across central Indiana, these temperatures will fall into the 50s. Low humidity, that north wind tomorrow, and lots of sunshine will combine for highs only around 70 degrees. That'll make it enjoyable. Temperature 58 first thing in the morning. Afternoon temperatures during the day tomorrow work to 67 at noon. We'll hit 71 for the afternoon high. Talk about some changes for Sunday and how long we can hold off summer heat coming up.
Thanks, Kevin. See you soon. Taking a look at coronavirus restrictions across central Indiana. Houses of worship will be allowed to hold indoor services this weekend at 50% capacity. And beginning Monday, restaurants can start seating diners indoors at 50% capacity. Fitness centers and pools will also be able to open at half capacity. And salons can reopen by appointment only. In all scenarios, businesses are advised to keep up social distancing measures. And other central Indiana counties have been following similar guidelines under phase 3 of the state's reopening plan and will remain in phase 3 until at least June 13th.
As more people get tested, the number of COVID-19 cases in Indiana will go up. The state's positivity rate has been steadily declining. Tonight, it's at 13.5%. The State Department of Health is reporting 1,946 COVID-19 deaths. There have been 33,000 positive cases since the pandemic began. New data from the Regent Street Institute shows 18% of those infected visited and they have been hospitalized and 64% have recovered. And new at 11, we are hearing from one of those recovered patients.
3 weeks ago, I couldn't even sit up in the bed.
Friends and family welcomed David Bruner back to his home tonight. Bruner spent the last 2 months in Hendricks County Hospital in Danville battling COVID-19.
As a hard-headed guy, I thought I had a sinus headache. And so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I just laid in bed and got medication. And finally, Monday morning, she says, "You're going to go to the ER." So I called Dr. Haven, and I remember getting out of my car, walking 2 steps, and I couldn't move.
Bruner wound up on a ventilator for 2 months. He says he doesn't remember much of his first 30 days in the hospital. And the outpouring of love and support that he received from family and friends tonight came as a surprise to the Greencastle native.
More than you could ever put in words. To come close not making it to where I'm at today, I'm very, very happy. I'm happier than more you can't imagine. You just can't imagine that.
Bruner will be on oxygen for the next month and has to go through extensive rehab. He and his wife Terry are looking forward to spending time together after his long hospital stay.
Still ahead on the news at 11, a warning about another highly contagious virus impacting dogs and how you can protect your four-legged friend.
Nothing else has reinforced my, love for what I do. Healthcare has really come into the forefront of everything.
And in hiring Hoosiers, they aren't on the front lines of the pandemic, but surgical techs are in high demand and working hard to keep patients safe and healthy.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Indiana hospitals have resumed elective surgeries that were canceled when the coronavirus pandemic began, and IU Health is looking to the Hoosiers to hire Hoosiers who can play key roles in keeping patients safe and comfortable. I found out why the demand for certified surgical techs has not changed despite an unprecedented few months for the healthcare industry. Back in January, I visited the OR at Methodist Hospital to meet David Wiseman, a certified surgical technician at IU Health. It's a career path he began less than a decade ago.
Previous to this, I was actually in retail for over a decade. I managed a small business, a couple of retail shops.
Now this 42-year-old father is the ENT team lead at the hospital and is also teaching future surgical techs at his alma mater, Ivy Tech.
I wanted to do something more meaningful with what I did every day and something that my children could be proud of.
4 days a week, you can find David scrubbed in next to a surgeon, assisting every step of the operation.
On a daily basis, a CST is responsible for preparing for surgeries and knowing what they're going to be doing that day ahead of time. And then we have instrumentation that we're responsible for obtaining and supplies. It requires a lot of critical thinking skills to be able to anticipate those needs for each individual patient.
Unlike most jobs, CSTs are only recruited once a year, and there are a limited number of programs in the state that provide surgical tech degrees. At the moment, the demand for surgical technologists is outpacing the supply, and the demand continues despite changes due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The surgical techs are just such an integral part in the operations of the OR, and we need them.
This week, I checked back in with IU Health's Director of Clinical Operations to see what has changed since January.
Now that we're kind of getting back into running parallel business with having COVID patients as well as trying to take care of the folks out there that still need surgeries, we are looking at bringing those learners back to the environment so we can get the proper training that they need.
For David, working through the pandemic has not changed his mindset about his career choice.
If nothing else, it's reinforced my love for what I do. Healthcare has really come into the forefront of everything everybody's aware of now because of this, and just hearing people talk about it all the time and knowing that every day I'm going to work and I'm driving to work and nobody else is on the road and I'm going to work to help take care of people. I mean, it just makes me feel that much better about what I do.
And IU Health currently has more than 50 job openings for surgical technicians across their system. The starting salary is $19.50 an hour. Ivy Tech offers a 2-year associate's degree program, and CSTs must commit to continuing education as surgery techniques are constantly changing. Starting salary for CSTs at IU Health is $19.50 an hour. You can learn more right now at hiringhoosiers.com. Kevin.
Amanda, how ironic is this? We'll step into a dry, beautiful weekend, the last weekend in May, and turn our back on what has been a very wet month. Over 7 inches of rain this month in Indianapolis, almost 2 inches above the average. As far as our dry stretch, probably lasts well into Wednesday. That's a nice little run, and we need it to dry out. Perhaps you have some lawn to mow, grass to mow, and you'll get to do that. 71 tomorrow. That's the warmer of the 2 days. How about that? 69 on Sunday. Temperatures as cool as 49 by Monday morning. If you've got your windows open some of these nights, I bet you close them at some point. You might think it's too cool. Saturday planner, temperature by noon, 67. Lots of sunshine in the morning. Just some fair weather cumulus clouds build in the afternoon. Temperature of around 71. That north wind generally around 10 miles per hour. These are the gusts, so maybe 15 with the gusts. It won't be too windy. That'll make it nice. Sunday morning is the coolest morning on average. Lafayette to Muncie and Richmond North should be in the 40s. 52 in Indy. Spotless on Sunday, simply sunny through the day. Temperatures move only into the upper 60s. 77 is our average high this time of year. Temperatures do make it to 70 once you get south of Terre Haute and Columbus toward Bloomington, Bedford, and Seymour. Okay, nothing lasts forever. We start to step it back up by the time we get to Wednesday. 88 degrees, yes, that will come with some humidity, and it will also come with thunderstorm chances increasing and sticking around on a Thursday. Back to a very warm summer pattern even beyond the 7-day forecast. Much of the country will have temperatures well above average, so we will go back to a very warm pattern.
Looks nice. Thank you, Kevin. As many people are concerned about COVID-19, animal advocates are reminding pet owners about a dangerous and highly contagious virus impacting dogs, parvo. Littlefoot is just one of many dogs hit hard with parvo. He is recovering after a local rescue spent more than $6,000 to save him. Parvo is often fatal in dogs, especially puppies and younger dogs. Street Outreach Animal Response and Friends of Indianapolis Dogs Outside are offering a free drive-through dog vaccination clinic tomorrow. It runs from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Fido Warehouse at 1505 North Sherman Drive in Indianapolis. Dogs must be kept in the car on a secure leash until they are ready to be vaccinated. The event will also offer scheduling for feed, spay, neuter for both dogs and cats at a later date.
I'm Dave First with another RTV6 Senior Salute, propping up the graduating spring sport athletes. We head to Pike High School, meet sprinter John Riley. So looking forward to his final spring with the Red Devils program. One of the best the state's ever seen. Figured to break records in the 200, 400, and 4x400. Coach Courtney Bishop says John has a tireless work ethic. One of the reasons the program was in position to win its first state title. John receives a full scholarship at Purdue. The Boilers, they're getting a good one. Good luck up at West Lafayette. I'm Dave First with another RTV6 Senior Salute.
Internet and savings on wireless. Call or click today.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
If you're in the mood for barbecue and backyard grilling isn't cutting it, there's a downtown Indy spot providing a taste of Texas. Our Brad Brown stopped by for a look in tonight's We're Open Indy.
With downtown Indy lingering in the background, you can follow a thin plume of white smoke to some of the best barbecue in the city.
To find the real good traditional stuff done right, it's more rare than just finding a really good restaurant. So I think that's where it is. It is years of experience.
Old Gold Barbecue has set up shop next to Metazoa Brewing along College Avenue. Paul George is the meat mastermind here. Not that Paul George, and yes, I found it a bit funny as well. This Paul earned his BBQ chops in Austin, Texas, working at some of the best Q joints on the planet.
It's kind of in its own little niche of the food world. Very much a Texas thing to have just a trailer with the smoker on a trailer. And when you go through Austin, you'll see them, every other block there's another barbecue place with this sort of setup.
Paul's brought all of it here, fired with Indiana wood, hickory leading the way. Texas barbecue means brisket, and the hunks of beef coming out of the Old Gold smoker are the real deal.
All wood fired, just traditional techniques, very simple rub, mainly salt and pepper, and nothing too fancy, just kind of straightforward, good traditional barbecue.
Those Texas flavors work through the whole menu. The mac and cheese, green chili's in there. That red chili, all beef, and you can almost see the deep spicy flavors.
It's something that any average guy can do, it's real simple food. It doesn't take a chef to do it. We love Metazoa. We do a lot of different events with them and activities, coordinate quite a bit, and just creating the atmosphere for everyone here it's really important to keep that partnership.
Man, is that brisket good. Paul also has pork spare ribs, turkey, chicken, sausage links, and the occasional special that comes off of that smoker. Old Gold Barbecue opens at 11 a.m. Thursday through Sundays. They go until they're sold out, so you might want to get there a bit early. They do have some picnic table seating as well. You might get a Metazoa brew to go with your barbecue, perhaps, and online ordering is available as well. You can find all of that information on their website. Working for you, Brad Brown, RTV6.
A pussycat on price.
NASA officials will take another look at the forecast tomorrow morning to see if they can make history Saturday. Wednesday's scrubbed launch has been scheduled for 3:22 p.m. tomorrow, but the last update says there's just a 50% chance of the weather holding up. The next possible launch window would be Sunday afternoon. NASA and SpaceX are launching 2 astronauts into orbit. It will be the first time since 2011 that NASA sent its own astronauts into space. Thank you so much for making RTV6 your choice for news.